You didn't wake up one day and decide to become this independent. You didn't consciously choose to stop needing people. You didn't sit down and say, "From today, I'll handle everything on my own." It happened quietly, slowly, almost invisibly. At some point in your life, you learned something painful but practical. Asking was risky. Needing too much made people uncomfortable. Relying on someone meant preparing yourself for disappointment. So you adapted. You learned to sit with your emotions alone. You learned to solve your own problems. You learned to be calm, capable, composed. The person who says, "It's okay, I've got it." From the outside, it looks like strength. You don't beg. You don't chase. You don't fall apart in front of others. You stay functional, reliable, steady. But here is the paradox no one talks about. The same emotional self-sufficiency that once protected you is now the very thing keeping you lonely. What saved you back then is slowly starving you now. Because emotional self-sufficiency is not freedom when it is born from fear. It is armor. And armor does an excellent job at keeping pain out, but it also keeps love out. You no longer feel abandoned the way you once did, but you also don't feel held. You don't collapse anymore, but you also don't rest in anyone's presence. The quiet tragedy is this: you became everything you needed because no one else was there to be it for you. This pattern does not come from being naturally strong. It comes from emotional absence. Emotional neglect doesn't mean no one was around. It means your inner world was not consistently noticed, mirrored, or protected. Your feelings were inconvenient, ignored, or minimized, so your nervous system learned a lesson early: handle it alone. Over time, your brain adapted. The part of your mind responsible for self-reflection became overactive. You grew deeply introspective, self-aware, and internally rich, but relationally distant. You feel deeply, you just don't show it. You think deeply, but you rarely reveal the raw parts. This is not coldness. This is conditioning. When care is inconsistent, the nervous system makes a brutal calculation. Depending on others hurts, so I will depend on myself instead. This is avoidant attachment at its core. Not arrogance, not lack of love, but self-reliance as a survival response. Your body learned to suppress need, to deactivate closeness before closeness could activate pain. You don't lean, you don't ask, you don't wait to be rescued. Not because you don't care, but because caring once felt dangerous. Many emotionally self-sufficient people were emotionally ahead of their environment. You might have been the listener, the fixer, the emotionally mature one in the room long before you should have been. You learn to regulate yourself and sometimes even others. This creates hypervigilance. You read moods. You anticipate reactions. You sense emotional shifts before words are spoken. Over time, this vigilance becomes identity. You stop waiting to be cared for and start preventing the need altogether. And the world praises you for it, never seeing the exhaustion underneath. There is a grief that comes with this kind of independence, and it's not loud. It's quiet, chronic, invisible. It's the grief of never being chosen because you never asked. You stop expressing needs not because you don't have them, but because you learned that having needs makes you vulnerable to loss. So you offer people a version of yourself that is easy to keep, low maintenance, strong, undemanding. Slowly, you trade authenticity for safety. Psychologically, what you suppress doesn't disappear. It waits. Longing waits. Fatigue waits. The desire to be held waits. You fear judgment, not for who you are, but for what you might need. You fear abandonment, not when you are strong, but if you ever soften. You fear rest because rest requires trust. You can be surrounded by people and still feel untouched. You can be admired and still feel unknown. You can be needed and still never truly feel held. This is the emotional cost. You survive, but you don't receive. These patterns don't stay in childhood. They evolve. They disguise themselves as personality traits and values. In relationships, you may find yourself drawn to emotionally unavailable people, not because you enjoy pain, but because distance feels familiar. You keep emotional exits open. You don't fully land. Intimacy feels intrusive while space feels safe. Your boundaries may feel strong, but they are often rigid rather than flexible. You say no not only because you know your limits, but because you don't trust others with your yes. In work and responsibility, you overfunction. You become indispensable, hypercompetent, reliable to the point of invisibility. Productivity becomes proof of worth. When it comes to self-worth, receiving is uncomfortable. Compliments feel awkward. Help feels invasive. Care feels undeserved, so you deflect, minimize, brush it off. Emotionally, you may analyze your feelings instead of feeling them. You explain your pain instead of expressing it. Logic becomes a shield. And when you stop handling things, you may feel strangely empty because your identity was built around survival. Here is the shift that changes everything. These are not flaws. They are strategies that once worked. Awareness is not about blaming the past. It's about updating the present. Healing for emotionally self-sufficient people is not about becoming dependent. It's about becoming flexible, being able to stand alone and also lean when needed. Real healing begins when you turn toward the part of you that learned to do everything alone and ask, gently, what it needed back then. Not to reopen wounds, but to finally respond to them. It continues when you allow yourself to meet the hidden resentment of always being strong, the fatigue of carrying everything, the longing you buried to survive. Wholeness is not achieved by deleting parts of yourself, but by integrating them. Your nervous system needs to learn safety again, not through ideas, but through experience. Slow connection, consistent presence, small moments of vulnerability that don't overwhelm you. You teach your body that closeness does not automatically lead to danger. Remember this, the goal is not to be fixed, but to become whole. You do not have to abandon your strength to soften. You do not have to lose independence to connect. You do not have to become less to receive more. You learned how to survive alone. Now you are allowed to live connected. If this felt like it was speaking directly to you, you're not weak for feeling that way. You're responding to something that was never meant to be carried alone. Share this with someone who carries their strength quietly. And stay. You don't have to do this by yourself anymore.